Sometime around 54 AD, a crowd dragged a massive collection of parchment scrolls into a public square in Ephesus and set them on fire. This wasn't a riot, it was a voluntary destruction of wealth. In modern terms, they were torching millions of dollars in personal assets. To find out why, we have to look at peak 1st century Ephesus. This was a commercial powerhouse for the Roman Empire, where the massive commercial agora moved luxury goods from as far as China and India. Standard commodities like silk and grain tell only half the story. Ephesus also ran on a high-margin trade and supernatural protection. Magic in this city functioned as a sprawling, highly profitable municipal economy. Understanding the ancient occult requires viewing it as the financial bedrock of the entire region. The primary product of this economy was the Ephesian letters, written magical spells and incantations believed to possess supernatural protective powers. This fragment shows the dense Greek script used to record these formulas. Magicians marketed these scrolls to everyday citizens as a necessary defense, a defense against demons, a shield against sickness, and protection from localized disasters. These books were obscenely expensive, representing a massive financial barrier to entry and ensuring that the magicians who owned them held a monopoly on civic peace of mind. This occult trade was the lifeblood of the city's religious identity, centered around the temple of the patron goddess, Artemis. Her sanctuary was one of the 7 wonders of the ancient world and served as the region's most powerful bank. Whoever controlled the secret supernatural formulas essentially controlled the economic heart of Ephesus, setting the stage for a confrontation with a new kind of message. When the Apostle Paul arrived in Ephesus, he didn't head for the outskirts. He spent 3 years embedded in the city's commercial zones, lecturing daily in public halls. Unlike the local magicians, Paul performed his healings in the open, refusing to charge fees or hide his methods behind expensive secret scrolls. His free, public miracles began to rapidly drain the customer base of the professional occultists, who watched as their paying clients moved towards this new, accessible power. A group of local exorcists, known as the Sons of Sceva, attempted to neutralize the threat by co-opting it. They tried to use the name of Jesus as if it were a new magic spell they could add to their existing trade. This attempted hijacking reveals that the local industry viewed Paul as a rival businessman with a superior product, rather than just a theologian. The attempt failed spectacularly. According to the accounts, a possessed man violently overpowered all 7 brothers, leaving them wounded and humiliated as they fled through the streets. News of the failure spread through the city's social networks, instantly shattering public confidence in the old professional magic trade. Former clients and new converts realized that their hoarded magical texts were not only powerless, but were now considered active liabilities. Citizens began gathering their expensive personal libraries and dragging them into the center of the city for a public demonstration. The massive fire that followed wasn't an act of state censorship. It was a voluntary consumer rejection of a fraudulent market. Historians recorded the total value of the destroyed books at 50,000 pieces of silver. This illustrates the human scale of the loss. 50,000 silver coins represent 50,000 individual days of manual labor for the average Ephesian worker. By torching the physical scrolls, the crowd effectively wiped out the city's occult intellectual property and ended the magician's monopoly. This triggered a secondary shockwave through the pagan economy. Demand for the physical idols and silver shrines sold at the Temple of Artemis began to plummet. Paul's message had successfully bypassed political debate and struck directly at the foundational profit margins of the old religion. A prominent silversmith named Demetrius, facing financial ruin, rallied his labor union to launch a violent protest against the Christian disruption. A panicked mob of craftsmen flooded the city's great theater, turning the venue into a site of civil unrest. For 2 hours, 25,000 people stood in these tiers chanting the name of Artemis, desperately trying to reassert their cultural and economic dominance over the city. The city clerk eventually diffused the physical riot, but the economic and cultural damage to the cult of Artemis could not be repaired. Paul's legacy in Ephesus remained long after he left, proving that cultural change takes root when people decide to burn the very books that make an old system profitable.